So today we're talking about Moxi blogs. Now the reason we're talking about this is because they recently, about a week or two ago, did a complete revamp of what their blog page looks like. So I want to go over the new form with you, the new format I should say with you, what the blog looks like, how you can write a blog post and stuff like that. So shouldn't be too big of a call today, but an important one because the new blog feature looks great. So I want to share my screen with you guys, and as always, if you have questions as we go, write them in the chat. I'm here to answer them. So I'm just currently on my Moxi site, as you can tell right now. I'm just, my normal Moxi site. And I'm going to go up to the top here. I've got my blog turned on. Can anybody else hear me? I want to make sure that my audio is on. John, okay, I can see John. All right, so, okay, if you guys can't hear me, I guess if you can't hear me.
I can hear.
Okay, cool. Thank you guys. Cool. So let's make sure you guys that I'm gonna mute everyone else for a second here. And if you're having, this is gonna be recorded, I guess. So if you're having audio issues, check your device. But we can offline about that too. But you can't hear me saying this if you're having audio issues. So all right. So we're looking at the new blog feature, guys. So you can see I have mine turned on here. I'm gonna click my blog. And this is what the new format looks like. And I'm like I mentioned a couple minutes ago, I really love this new format. So you can see the most recent post we've got right up here along here in a banner. And then we've got the top stories. Now top stories basically means your most recent posts. So it looks a lot better. One of the things they've put into the forefront that was kind of missing before is this category section. What was really, kind of ironic from my end is I had an agent reach out and ask me, how do I even use the categories on my blog? They don't seem to be featured at all. And then I asked Moxi, and they said next week we're rolling out the new layout where you've got these categories across the top. So this is what it looks like. You've got a big banner here. You've got top stories down here. And then, of course, there is a section where someone can subscribe to your blog post, and of course they then get added into your Engage. So let us take a look at how we actually write these posts. And one of the things I wanted to make kind of important here once we get further is that I'll answer that and when we get there, Jenny. We're going to get to that topic in a little bit here. So one of the things that I want to stress the importance of, guys, is this uncategorized category. I'm going to show you in a second how you can add a category when you're creating a blog post, but it's important to do that because there is a category here that is called uncategorized. And when before I made this test one here, this home maintenance one, I actually had another test post in here, and you can see right here on the second post, right along the top, the category says uncategorized. And when that was the banner here, it says right across the top, uncategorized. So that just does not look very professional. My site's turned off, by the way. It's not live anywhere on the internet besides training, so don't worry about that. It just doesn't look very professional to have that uncategorized. So one of the best practices I'm going to give you is if you do have blogs, make sure you go in and you add categories to everything. So let's take a look at how we access this from the back. So I'm just logged in right now to my.schmidtresources.com. And I'm going to click on my website up here across the top. And it's going to take us to, unsurprisingly, my website. This page can sometimes take a little minute to load, but here we are. So we're going to specifically just talk about the blog right now. And the way we do that is on the left-hand side over here, on this big long bar. I'm just going to go down to this blog posts category.
Come on, man.
I don't know why it's not muting now. I'm going to mute everyone, guys. Please make sure you stay muted. And I'm going to actually undo the capacity to let you unmute yourselves. But I will change that when we get to the questions section towards the end. So we're going to go to blog post and do all posts right here. And then this is where all of your blog posts live. So yours should look something like this, or it could be blank. You might not have any blog posts. So how we're going to do this, what we're going to do here is we are going to click on Add New. That's how you're going to write a new blog post. So we're going to click Add New, and this is going to bring us to our blog screen. Now, the blog screen is, I would say relatively straightforward because we don't even need to worry about that. all we want to do is sort of, I guess you could say, 4 main things, and that's what we're going to walk through. Number 1, title. What is the title of your blog? When you are looking at the blog page on the front end, it probably makes sense. Your title is your title. Your title is the big, bold thing that is associated with your blog post. So right here, the title is How to Build a Home Gym Without Breaking the Bank. So your blog post could be about anything. We're going to talk about content at the end a little bit, but your blog post could be about anything. It could literally be, 3 holiday gift ideas for dogs, right? That's what I'm looking for. I need those articles. So I'm going to title my page 3 holiday gift ideas for dogs. This next section here, this big area right here, is where you're going to write your article. Or your blog post, I should say. Article, blog posts are kind of interchangeably used, but we're specifically talking blog posts. So I could fully write out a full blog post here and say, it's the holiday season and we're all searching for the best, gifts for not only our human friends, but our 4-legged pals too. So I could write my full blog post here. Now you have a lot of formatting options like you would in Microsoft Word or in a Google document or anything like that. For example, if I press enter, I could maybe bold this and say gift number one, and automatic treat dispenser, right? And then I could write about that under here. Unbold it. It's a lovely gift that rewards blah, 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 blah. So you can bold things. You can, if I wanted to highlight this section, I could center the text. So it's kind of centered there. I could add media. Now this add media button is going to be specifically for photos. So I could click add media. And, I've got all these photos loaded in. So maybe I actually pick this one of me and my wife and our dogs. So I'm going to throw that in there. And by doing that, to do that, guys, I literally clicked add media. And I had that photo already loaded into my website, which all of the photos you've ever entered into your site should also show up here. But you can also click upload files right next to that across the top here, and you can drag and drop. You can add an additional photo from your computer, from your phone, etc. So you can add any photos you want. There's just a size file of 10 megabytes right there. So I've got that photo there. I'm going to try to make it a little bit smaller just so it doesn't stand out too much. So I've got the photo. As you can see, I bolded something. If I want to, I could do the next line and do bullet points by just clicking the bulleted list. And I could do dogs, cats. It's a lovely gift that rewards any pet, including dogs, cats, lizards, rats, and just to keep the rhyming scheme going, mice and hats. Why not? So all I want to show you guys is that you can play around with the formatting of the blog post. And then last but not least, just like if you've ever taken any of my trainings or any of our trainings regarding adding a video, let me see if I can I'll go to cbvirtualopenhouse.com and I'll use one of our virtual open houses as an example. I can also add a video. The way I add a video is a little different than... Try that again. There we go. So the way I do that is going to be a little bit different than if I were to do a photo. And the way that's going to work, guys, is I'm going to click this little button right here that says Insert Edit Media. It's the very end of this strip here, and it's the little film strip with the play button in the middle. I'm going to click on that, and it's going to ask me for a YouTube link or a Vimeo link, whatever you prefer. I'm just going to pick this video here, and I'm going to go up to this URL up here, right-click, and copy the YouTube link. And then I'm going to go back to my post. I'm going to right-click, paste the YouTube link, click OK, and boom. Now I've got my video there. Now it does look really big here. It's not going to look that big on the live post itself. So just to go over what we've done so far, we have added a photo, bullet points, a video, all across one post. Now I'm going to right-click and copy that because I'm having, of course, some internet issues. Why wouldn't we, right? So I want to try to refresh that. So those are two of the four big important points of these blog posts. You want to make sure you add a title. You want to make sure you add a post itself, obviously. Let me try pasting all that in there again. There we go. See, look, it all just came over. We'll just do more pet ideas. So we've got pet gift ideas. So we've got our title. We've got our post itself. Now we've got two more things we want to focus on. Number one is categories. I've got my categories right over here on the right-hand side. And you can see I've got home maintenance, local events, market updates, and then I have that uncategorized. I can add a category by simply clicking add new category, just like that. And I could say pets. That would be obviously a relevant category here. Do add new category. Or I could have, a more general one that's maybe, home, just, home tips or top gift. I know I'm blanking on them. You could do pets. You could do lifestyle as a more general term, lifestyle stuff. You could do family oriented. Your categories can be whatever you want them to be. But this is where I think it's really important to make sure that one of your posts, all of your posts, are categorized with something over here, because if you don't, it will go into uncategorized automatically, and that just does not look professional, like we were discussing earlier. Can you put the blog post in more than one category? Absolutely. Yep. So if I say, hey, this is a great one for pets, and maybe I'm talking about, don't forget about our upcoming adoption event, maybe now I could actually add it to the local events category. So just like that. You do kind of have to have what they call a primary category, but it will appear in the other categories as well. So yeah, you can absolutely add one or two of these if you want, no matter, or 3 or 4 if you wanted to. And then the final thing that's really important, guys, is if you look down here in the corner, I'm trying to expand my window a bit. In the lower right-hand corner, if you might need to scroll to find it, but you'll see a section that says featured image. Now the featured image is when I copy and paste this article to Facebook, or if I share it in any sort of social media. Well, I'm sure we're all familiar with how when I go to /JD, when I go to a Facebook page and I copy and paste a link into a Facebook page, a photo comes over, like this one right here. This is obviously a listing, but a photo comes over with the link. When you copy and paste the link, a photo comes over. What that featured image does is that featured image becomes that photo that you're copying and pasting into social media. So in theory, if you've added the featured image and you paste it on, copy and paste to social media, that featured image is going to pull over into your post. If you don't have a featured image set right here, what it normally does, and I say normally because it's always done this for me, but there could be a hiccup along the way. It will find the first photo in your article and make that the featured image. Obviously, right now, my featured image is this photo of us and the dogs. That would become my featured image because I did not set one automatically over here. It's always a best practice to set a featured image by clicking Set Featured Image down here. And then again, you can upload a file right here. Or if you have another one you're going to use, for the purposes of this training, I am going to reuse the one of us and the dogs, and I'm going to click Set Featured Image there. It's totally okay if you want to use the same image in your article that you use for your featured image, but the thing that I would keep in mind is that the featured image comes across like this rectangle. It's basically the normal image size for the internet, 1920 by 1080. You don't need to worry about that part, but it's the normal size of photos on the internet. So if you have a square photo, if you have a longer rectangle like this banner, if you just have any other sized photo, like just for example, I have this little graphic. Let me try adding it to my article here. I have this graphic on my desktop here that goes over some social media stuff. Top real estate hashtags, which is something we can talk about another day. And this is outdated, which is why I actually haven't. It's just an idea for down the road. If I add this photo, so all I did was, let me actually go back to upload photo here. I've got this long rectangular graphic. I'm going to drag and drop it right into my page. And now I'm going to add this photo to my post. Let me try to minimize that. There we go. So you can see it's checked right here. I'm going to click down in the corner where it says Insert into Post. And boom, you can see this really long photo will appear in my post. Now, like I said, this might be exactly the sort of photo I want in my article. However, that photo is not going to look good right here in this square, in this rectangle. And I'm sure we all understand why. Those shapes do not match up. So you want to make sure that if you do have one of your photos that is going to automatically become your featured image, that it fits that shape well. So now that we have basically created our blog post, I've got our title here, I've got our content here in the post itself, I've got my categories on the right over here, and then I added my featured image. All I'm going to do is click publish real quick. Right up there, I'm going to publish it, and now this post is going to be live on my page. And you can see that right up here it says post published. Now, on this back end right here, I'm just going to click on blog posts again. You can see on the left, I'm going to click blog posts just to sort of reset where we are. But what I'm going to do in this other tab is I'm going to go to my blog and I'm going to refresh this. This is the consumer facing part of it. I'm going to refresh it and boom, there it is. Now again, you can see that this one didn't fit the banner well because that was a wonkier photo. It does look a little bit better down here, but not quite because they just look like they're veering over the side. So that's why it's important to make sure you have photos that are I mean, again, I can't stress enough, just standard photos. As long as you have standard size photos, you're going to be fine. So last thing I want to go over before we talk about content, guys, is on the left-hand side over here, you're going to see post categories. If I go to post categories really quickly here, post categories, it's going to show me, unsurprisingly, all of the categories that I have. Home maintenance, local events, market updates, pets, and uncategorized. Now, if I wanted to, I could add a new category from here, as you can tell. I could do the name, pretty straightforward here, just like you would if you were writing an article. I personally have never really needed to do it this way, just because I normally add the new category when I'm writing the new article. But it is another option we have here, just in case. But what you can do from here is if you mistype something, if you screw something up, if you want to just remove a category that you have, you can go to your categories here and you can delete it. If I don't want my pets category, I can just click delete right here and I'm going to delete that category. It's not going to delete the posts, as far as I know, as far as I've understood in the trainings. It's not going to delete the posts associated with it, just the category itself. So that option is also here by clicking the post categories option. And then it'll show you the count that you have there. You can see a couple more pieces of information here. But in general, you're only going to use this to either add more categories or remove other categories. Or you can just click edit and you can edit that category. Home maintenance tips, I wanted to call it, instead of just home maintenance, right? So I just added the word tips there. I'm going to scroll down, I'm going to click update, and we're good to go. So in terms of the actual learning new skills for Moxi, the main things I wanted to discuss with you guys today was what the new blog looks like and then how to add new blog posts. So those are the technical things that we wanted to discuss. I do want to take a bit of a step back and discuss blogs as a whole, because there's a couple interesting questions a couple things to discuss with it. Number one is, should you write blog posts in general? Should you write blog posts? The answer to that is tricky. I think it is a great way to communicate your message if you feel comfortable in the written form. I have talked to plenty of agents before. You guys know I'm the biggest video pusher in the world. We've got, but by the way, if just to push the video, we had a Blue Matters Monday email go out at 9 o'clock this morning, and in that email is links to our new BombBomb training this week. We have an Intro to BombBomb class tomorrow and an Intro to BombBomb class on Friday. This was actually really requested from you guys after Innovation Exchange, which is why we're putting it on again. So after this call, I'm also going to post it on the Gen Blue Facebook group, so there will be sign-up links there. See, I told you I'm the video guy. Outside of that, though, I've talked to agents who say, you know what, I've tried video, I've tried it for a few weeks, I just don't think it's for me. but I still want to share ideas, share my personality, share content like that. Another way you can do that is through blog posts. To use an outside of real estate example, I always go back to recipes. If you guys get recipes from the internet, you have probably seen how drastically blogs have changed, recipes have changed since even 10 years ago. It used to be you go on to bettycrocker.com and there's the recipe, you got all your steps and you follow it and you go. Now, if you go to, you're looking for a recipe online, you're going to find an article from, Jeanette'sCooking.com, and it's going to say, these are my family's favorite chocolate chip cookies. I learned about these when, I did this, and my grandmother, and you get backstory and you get a bunch of descriptors about the recipe itself. Now, a lot of us, myself personally, I kind of go, I just need the recipe, guys. I just need to know what I'm going to do here. But the majority of people, when looking at recipes, read that stuff, or at least skim that stuff. And what that does is it sort of endears them to that blog, endears them to that that chef, that baker, whomever it is that is writing that post. And then they start reading more of that person's posts, and they kind of rely on them for recipes. And then what happens is they share a new recipe that you weren't even looking for, but because they shared it, you're going to go, yeah, I'll give it a go. So what happens, guys, with blog posts nowadays is that it's the same concept as video. It's about injecting your personality into a way where it shines and people will get to know you more and more. And blogging is a way to do that. It is not, in today's day and age, the most effective way to do it. That is video, just, objectively speaking, video is the statistically best way to get in front of people. However, blog posts are a way to do that. Personally written content always looks better than sort of robotic written content. So is blogging a good idea? I don't think it's a bad idea. It can help with your website SEO a little bit, just a bit. It can give you more content. You can drive people there. It can give them more value. If you commit to writing 1 or 2 posts a week, then there might be cause for me to always go back to look at your articles. And it could be about anything. It could be great, gift ideas for pets. It could be the difference between renting and buying in 2021. It could be home buying myths busted, right? You can write about anything. You just have to actually do it. What's not going to be helpful is doing a video here, a video there, once or twice when you feel like it. If you commit to doing it, there can be value there. Just like any aspect of marketing. If you commit to anything, that's when value starts to come. Now, one of the questions that was asked was, is there pre-written content? Which is a great question, and we do get, and it's one that I was going to answer because we do start to get into some sort of, for lack of a better word, legality issues, copyright issues, plagiarism, obviously being the word that I'm looking for that I was too tired to find. You do get into plagiarism issues with pre-written content. The Coldwell Banker blog.coldwellbanker.com, is a blog that is written by the brand. And you can share that content on your social media all day long. You can, share that stuff on your website. However, we can't copy and paste the article like it was our own. If we're doing this particular blog format that we're looking at here, guys, this is for your own written content. Now, there are ways that you can kind of mess with that. For example, maybe you find an article that you really like on HGTV or on the Coldwell Banker blog. And what you can do is you can write your own blog post and you can title it more, best pet gift ideas for 2020. And I can write 2 or 3 sentences about it. And then I can say underneath that, click here to check out a great, Coldwell Banker blog on this topic. And then you have the link to it right there. So you are then adding content to your website, right? You're adding blogs to your website, and then you're sending people to a longer digest down the road. The question starts to become, is that valuable to your consumer? If you're sending them to your blog, and then from your blog sending them to the next place. Not as much as if you were writing the posts. So I think it's a great idea to take inspiration from other blogs. I think if you see an article that you go, oh, I could write something like that, go ahead and then write your own version of that. But once we start getting into plagiarism is when we start getting into, legal issues, which I have my team at my previous job got looped up in one of these things with a big publication on the East Coast, and it was tens of thousands of dollars in terms of the lawsuit that this writer got us into. And for the record, it wasn't me. I just want to make that very clear. But I've been in that situation, and it is not pretty. And so I personally have a very big concern with plagiarism, with copyright issues and stuff like that. So make sure if you're doing your own blog like this that you are writing your own stuff. I personally, even though I love video, I find writing like this very cathartic. It's something that I can write a post about. I can talk about, like I said, not to always hammer home, pet ideas, local things going on in my community. I love the idea of home buying myths. You know, being in my 20s, I have a lot of friends who are buying homes for the first time. Becky, I feel like you're rubbing that in my face, and I think that's a little rude. I feel like I have a lot of friends who are buying homes for the first time, and I hear a lot of home buying misconceptions out there. Hand to God, 2 weeks ago, my youngest sister said I was looking at this. She wanted to look at this home downtown Grand Rapids, and I said, okay, before you do that, let me connect you with one of our lenders that we use so that you can kind of get pre-approved. And she goes, okay, I'll think about that. And the next day, she texted me. She goes, I think I have money for a down payment. Can I just make an offer? And I was like, Isabel, that's just not how it works. ABC. So write those articles. Write the quick guide to home buying. Write the best tips to sell your home quicker. Write why, you all are the experts on this topic. Every single one of you on this call is an expert in real estate. So share that with your consumers. So this is another method of communication. That's the end point here, guys. Blogging is another way to communicate with your clients. If you've tried video and you just, it's not for me, I don't feel comfortable, but I love writing, then blog. There's nothing stopping you from writing your blogs on here. If you love video, maybe you write a blog post and then your blogs are your videos. So you write 2 or 3 sentences and then you say click below to learn more, but it's your video. So you're still advertising yourself in your blog posts. So there's a lot of ways to leverage this blog tool in Moxi. It is not, again guys, it's not one of those things that if you don't blog, you're not going to have a successful career. No one would ever say that in terms of real estate, but it is another amazing way to get your personality out there, to provide value for your clients, and to really just give them more and to put yourself right in front of their eyes. And again, a blog post, put it on social media, put it in one of your newsletters, share it. If you've got a client who reaches out with it, I reach out to our agent all the time that we worked with 4 years ago. And if I said, hey, I've got this issue, what should I do? He can send me an email and say, hey, I wrote this blog post on it. There's so much you can do to leverage these things. But the main point of today, along with the concept of blogging as a whole, is that it looks a lot nicer on the website now. And you can add posts by, again, if you're in the back end of your site, go to blog posts, go to add new, and then you can write a new blog post. The last thing I'll say, guys, in terms of these thumbnails, these featured images over here on the right-hand side, I would really recommend working with marketing on those if you want something made up for you. Any marketing request, anything visual, guys, our team is here to help you work on that stuff. The one thing I would say is that the more generic your photo, so again, if we look at this, obviously this was tricky with the faces, but this one came across better, this one comes across better, the home comes across better. Anything more generic is what I would recommend. And by generic, I mean scenic, I mean a home, I mean just anything that really just doesn't have a lot of text on it, I guess is a great way to put it. But I do want to say, like I do with a lot of our tools and a lot of our trainings, if you ever write a blog post and you want another set of eyes on it, send it to myself, send it to Danielle in our marketing group. She is amazing with written word. If you ever need another set of eyes to look at something because you're not sure if it's worded right, if it's the best you can do, send it to someone on your team or send it to someone in your office. Send it to someone in your family. Just say, hey, I'm writing a blog post. What do you think about this? Does this make sense? Does this, is this helpful? I personally have had it so many times where getting somebody else to look at something makes it that much better because you miss something that's really obvious to the next person. Oh, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Of course, yeah, let me rewrite that a little bit. But blogging can be just another great way to communicate, and thankfully it looks even nicer than it used to. So I'm going to wrap it up for the day, guys. We only did 25 minutes, which isn't too bad for a Moxi Monday. Please don't forget, the Bomb trainings are tomorrow and Friday. The email went out again this morning, and I'm going to post it on the Facebook group like I said. Don't forget to submit your listings to the virtual open house. Don't forget to just be kind to everybody in general, and we'll call it a day. Thank you. Have a great rest of your week, and I will see you next time.